Welcome to Be the Good with Kate, the show where guests leave you inspired to uncover your passions and discover tangible ways to make a difference along the way. Here we talk to individuals who are doing just that, individuals from all walks of life and industries. While we have featured guests from Bali to Utah, Florida to Japan, and just about everywhere in between, this season we're going uber local with my new/old state of New Jersey. But New Jersey, why? Land of shopping malls and the Turnpike? Well, because your host, that's me, Kate Cherichalo-Tente, is a New Jersey native but longtime Manhattan resident. That is, until recently. As I rediscover my home state, first we need to talk about the fact that it is not the land of shopping malls and the Turnpike. It is a land of such a variety of people and cultures and landscapes. It's the land of Bruce Springsteen and Whitney Houston and Frankie Valli. It's the land of shoreline and country and forests and mountains. And well, I could go on and on, but we got to get on to our episodes. So I wanted to bring on some guests doing good here in New Jersey. But just like in prior seasons, something I love about human connection and inspiration is how you certainly don't need to be from the same place or a similar background to get so much out of hearing from a person. In fact, I think it's better that way. We notice how we as humans are so similar in so many ways and how each of us has the power to make a difference in our own lives and in the lives of others. And I hope you are inspired here to start, restart, or continue your journey of finding your passions and helping others along the way. Easy and impactful way you can help this podcast reach more people, share with a friend, or leave a review. Thanks for your help in inspiring more people. Now on to this week's episode. Let's spread a little more goodness in the world. Today on Be the Good with Kate, we've got a really special place to tell you about. I've got Billy here from Your Kind of Cuts, which is a sensory-friendly barbershop out of Nutley, New Jersey. Billy, Ro, Gio, the whole team, thanks so much for talking to me today.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate being here. Thank you.
Hey, absolutely my pleasure. So I give a tiny little intro. You do so much. Please tell everybody a bit more about what it is you do for so many kids here in New Jersey and beyond.
Well, from what I understand, I pretty much just show up and be Billy. And what that does is, it enables us to help, a lot of families deal with, which was a very uncomfortable situation for not only the client, but the whole entire family, right? The siblings suffer when the brother's crying, mommy's suffering. So basically, I show up, have a little compassion for what we're doing and understanding what we're doing and motivated by the challenge to make sure we help these families get through difficult situations. So I show up and be Billy. So that's what I do.
Well, it's really so much more than I know to the outside viewer or listener. So Billy, if someone has no idea even what autism is or how an autistic child or someone who needs that kind of extra assistance, can you just kind of paint that picture for someone?
I raised my hand because I wanted to answer the question. Like, I have no idea about autism, right? To be honest with you, I think it's one of the strongest characteristics of my everyday agenda for my team and I is the only problem that we see with these children is that your hair is too long, right? The age, the sensory, it's not that we don't understand it or have compassion for it, but we're not the therapist. We're not the teacher. We're not the parent, right? We're the barber. My problem is your hair, right? So saying that, I don't judge anybody for anything except your hair is too long. So for somebody who doesn't understand autism, that would be me, right? I learn every single day from my clients as well, right? I learn from the parents who are helping me as well as me helping the parents understand some stuff that I see. So at the end of the day, I don't really know anything about autism and I can't judge anybody for what they know or don't know. That my agenda is to show up here and cut their hair.
So then how did you decide, you're a barber, how did you decide that you're going to have this specific focus of a barbershop?
Well, so really, really quick, I've been through the foster system when I was younger, starting in the early 70s. And, when you're in those situations, you quickly realize every time you walk into a different room or a different house that everybody in the room has an agenda. You just have to figure out who and what the agenda is, right? So having that ability to kind of be a good judge of character and good body language, that's part of the intro when kids walk through the door that I'm able to see. Is the father holding the mom back? Is the mom holding the kid back? Is the kid pulling both the parents back, right? We figure out where the tension's coming from. At the end of the day, we know why they're here, right? Because we are a sensory-friendly barber. So obviously they came for a reason. But it doesn't change how they walk in the door for me, right? We still have to get them in the door, whatever the issue is, right? And I still have to convince them that they're going to be okay, right? And I tell my clients all the time, like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be nervous, right? The only thing I ask is that you be brave, right? We're not telling you can't cry. Like, I get it. You don't like it. I get it, but I'm here to help you and, offering the toys ahead of time to take some of the stress away and then offering the reward system at the end for toughing it out, being brave. I know you don't like it, right? But this is the reward for being brave, right? And I have children that have been with me for over a year or so, maybe more, that still come in, sit in my chair, absolutely terrified, but they're leaning into me, right? They hate what I
Mm,
do, but they trust me. And that's all I can ask for, right? If you trust me, I have the ability to help you, and I spend my day trying to get all these kids to trust me. And, I think it's paying off because, in this world, everybody is real quick with their opinions, right? And
mm,
for whatever that's worth to some people. Um, but the parents and people as yourself, they can lie right to my face and tell me what a wonderful job I'm doing, right? But the kids do not lie,
yeah.
right? Like the hugs, like I'm grandma and grandpa hugs, and I'm getting half a munchkins that they find under their seat on the way in, and they're bringing me their old busted cars, right? Because that's what I do for them. That's what friends do, right? The dads call me, moms call me, say, "Oh my God, they don't stop talking about you, dude. You're like his best friend." To me, that's everything to me, right? I mean, just like any other friend I would have, if you're in a situation, I'm going to try to help you, right? And unfortunately, they're my little friends and they have big situations. So,
Yeah,
with
because
the
it is
challenge.
absolutely terrifying to them to go to get their haircut.
I mean, listen, some of them are just scared by the previous processes.
Mm,
Others are definitely terrified of the machines.
mm.
Some don't like to be touched, period, whether it be with a machine or even mom brushing her hair, right? So there's a lot of things that we address. And like I said earlier, like at the end of the day, none of it really matters because the common denominator is you need a haircut, dude, right? So
Yeah,
you're no
yeah,
different than the kid that was here before or the next one coming in, as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned, right? And
yeah.
especially I love having the kids that have never had a haircut, right? Because they have
Ah,
no idea what they're looking at. So
sure.
the first vision of the machine is not going to be pulling knots out of his hair. It's going to be playing used as a drumstick on, one of my xylophones, right?
There.
And we slowly bring that to a knee and then to the shoulder, right? Next thing you know, we're cutting the back, right? And mom's crying and like it's about the approach, right? It's the same
Yeah.
tool, same tool. We don't use anything different than anybody else.
Ah. But have you always been this creative? Like just thinking, to use it with the xylophone and all of these
I
details.
mean, listen, I mean, I hate to say this in any way that makes me sound good. Like, I'm 54 years old, right? If I can't figure out how to manipulate a 6-year-old kid, dude, like, especially like how I grew up, like, dude, I have some
Mm,
thick skin. I've seen a lot of things, man. Like, no kid in here has ever shown me anything that I haven't seen outside this shop
mm,
from any other kid in the neighborhood or on the playground, right?
mm.
I mean, they're all the same. Kids are kids, right?
Yeah. But how you react to them is so different. Like even with talking to Ro before you came on camera here, we were talking about how people so often, in any business aren't making eye contact with the customers, aren't going like just thinking about how they feel on
I
the other
mean,
side. So you
listen,
guys are all such a great
I
example of
listen.
something that to you probably is like, well, I'm just being myself.
Well, I mean, it, I am being myself, and myself, has good work ethic and good customer service skills, right? That is myself, right? So, it is what it is. Um, I'm just extremely happy that people are receiving it the way it
Yeah.
is, right? Because it's for me, I can't think of anything negative that shows up on a daily basis that would make me ever think about stop doing this, right? I mean,
Mm.
we all have problems at our job. I don't care what you do for a living, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have a disgruntled coworker. You're gonna have bad days at work, and it is what it is, right? But even my bad days always get rounded off at the end of the day, right? I mean, no matter how hard it was in the morning, by the afternoon or early evening, we took a child that was on the floor for the last 2 years and finally got him in the chair today, right?
Mm.
So today's a success, right? And
Yeah.
then then the next time we come in, we're going to get that kid and another kid into the chair, and the next day, three more kids are going to come in and lay on the floor, right? So, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is what it is. I mean, I love what I do. Listening to some of the comments and having this sort of attention being brought to what I'm doing started to make me understand or started to make me love why I'm doing it now. I
Mm.
always loved what I did. Now I love why I do it, right?
Ah.
Because I'm making not only am I not only am I helping the child with a haircut, right? But I'm helping the parents,
Yeah.
right? I'm helping the siblings. And what I preach to them is not haircuts don't hurt, right? If they do, they do, right? Be brave, right? There's a lot of things in the world that are scary. And that's reiterated by probably the best compliment I've had pound for pound was from my mom. I'm sure you heard me say it a couple of times, but it means so much to me that a mom called me from the parking lot of a doctor's office saying, "Billy, you have no idea how you changed our lives." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And when she told me that this kid referenced me and said, "Mom, don't worry, I'm gonna be brave like Billy the barber told me," like to me, like there was no way that day I set out to make that change in that kid's life, right?
Mm.
And never 1 hour during hair school did I ever envision myself doing my curlers that I was going to get a kid into a doctor's office, right? It
Yeah.
just it was so far-fetched, right? Um, and I wasn't trying to get the kid into the doctor's office, right? I was trying to cut his hair. But
Mm.
the fact that, it's so deep to them and it hits them so heavy that I got to get in there a little deeper too, right? I got to get in there a little deeper too. And at the end of the day, that energy that resonates from us in the shop resonates throughout the whole shop,
Yeah.
right? So, um, not only is it exciting for me to sit back and be happy for who I am, which I consider myself to be lucky to have these paths in my life cross, right? I have a guy here now who's 26 years old. I forgot more stuff in life than he even learned yet, right? But the fact that he's doing the same work standing next to me is part of the the solidification process of knowing that I know I have at least one person working in the future for us, right? Like he's 26 years old and he's a compassionate guy. I don't know how he's gonna ever walk away either, right? Unless he hits the mega
Mm.
millions. But even then, I think he'd come back, right? So, um, but that's the important part to me, right? The energy that we resonate throughout the shop and the protocol that I expect and the customer service level that I expect for these families from anybody who's in my shop, when it resonates to these people, that's a big plus for me too, right? I mean, it's
Awesome.
not just me. It's
Yeah.
Ro and it's Giacomo and everybody else who's passed by and either realized we weren't for them or they weren't for us, right? I mean, but everybody who stepped up to want to help, right?
Did you go right from barber school to creating this specific barbershop, or was there an in
Well,
between?
like if I could, the this all happened on accident. Like
Ha.
and this is why it's even more mind-boggling, right? The last job I had, I was back in the 80s, I went out and got my CDL, right? To avoid technology. All my friends were going to be the next Bill Gates. I'm like, I don't want to be sitting in a cubicle. I'm going out. I got my CDL. I drove from the age of like 16 to 39. I was out there truck driving, warehousing, or whatever. And after 16 years at the same company, my boss came to me and said, "You're making too much money." I said, "I never had that problem in my life, having too much money. So I'm going to need some time off to figure out how I'm going to fix that." And I was flip flopping between culinary, barbering. My point was I wanted to find something that I can do that I can control how much money was too much for my family, right? I wasn't going to be restricted to hours and sticking around here for a pension and being bogged down doing something I don't want to do, just waiting to retire, right? Um, so I almost went to culinary school. We almost had this conversation over a steak, right? I could have been an award-winning chef, right? But as here we are talking about autism, but the where I think where the paths crossed and it was lucky for everybody was 3 months into a year program, I had my second child while I was in school. I was essentially 39 years old, unemployed, full-time student with a newborn.
Wow.
I could have very easily went back to my old job, took the
Yeah.
pay hit, right? And went back to the old job. But I didn't. I used the fact that my daughter was born as motivation, right? Like, we're gonna pass the test. We have no choice, right? Like, she's home, she needs to eat. I need to learn how to cut hair as quick as possible. And so I toughed it out, and believe it or not, I passed my cosmetology state board exam and my GED in the same week. The
Wow.
same week because I had no choice, right? So saying that, when I came out, I had zero ideas of what I was doing. To be honest with you, if I wanted to be a colorist. I wanted to put highlights in your hair, charge you $800, talk smack about your husband, and book you an appointment for 3 weeks, right? And keep it moving. That was my plan. Go to Miami, go to Vegas, right? Do me. Then my daughter came and was like, wait a second, that's not the plan anymore, right? I can't go to Vegas. I still never been to Vegas. Um, but I had to do something to make sure I fed my family. And
Mm.
I went to a friend who was my old barber who was the owner of a shop, and I went with my tail between my legs and I asked him for a job. I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. Um, but sometimes in life you quickly learn, sometimes it's better to learn what not to do than what to do.
Mm.
So when you learn very quickly what not to do, what to do pops up right in front of you, right? So customer service is my pet peeve, and that's for everybody who comes through here. That's including friends in the neighborhood. If you can't say hi to my clients, don't come in here, right? Like because you're not gonna make anybody feel uncomfortable. I don't care who's cutting what client. Like everybody says, when somebody says hello, everybody hello, right? I mean, it's not just me because it's my client. I mean, that's imperative for me, and just to make sure that everybody that walks in my door knows that they're gonna get the best attention that we can give them, right? And like I said, having only a GED as an education and being in a tough social environment, for that to be the key factor that everyone keeps pointing out, not what I'm doing, but how I'm doing it.
Ah,
That's why I said it just show up and be Billy, so it's easy,
yeah.
right? And it's being
Yeah.
solidified, right? Right now, we are on the NewJersey.gov website as a resource for New Jersey now,
Mm.
right? I mean, I had the governor call my cell phone personally, right? Like,
Yeah, I was going to ask you how people find your shop outside of Nutley itself.
unfortunately, the same way people found me when I went on Jamaica, I went on vacation with my family in Jamaica, and Ro goes out to the Dominican Republic, and we just had our first family drive from Canada the other day, 9 hours in one direction to get a haircut,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
4 years. We cut kids from 18 states already, hence the map on the ground here.
Wow.
And we represented in 4 countries already. So I don't have to do anything. If you're, you know, I hate to say this and have it be any taken as derogatory. What I realized quickly with the autism community, man, they're like the mob. Nobody messes with them, dude, right? And that's why I told you earlier, I'm glad to be in that flow with them, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the momentum is picking up for the community. We're part of that. I'm glad that we're part of it. And, unfortunately, there's so many people all over the place that deal with this. This is why the only reason I'm doing this interview, right, is because if I can get one more person that I can help, then it was a successful, right? If it
Yeah.
doesn't, then it doesn't, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not here for me. I'm here to make sure that, we help as many people, and they find me because it's a need. The same way if, you were looking, if your kid or nephew were looking for the newest Jordans, right? You know where to look for them, right?
You're right.
So it's the
You're
same
right.
thing. If you're looking for something, you're gonna go find it. And now with the internet, the world has gotten a lot smaller now, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
connected now, right? And
Yeah.
man, for a family just to pack up a car and drive from Canada,
Wow.
it kind of it stinks for the people that are 25, 30 minutes away that are complaining, right? Like,
Right.
I mean,
So I take it there are not a lot of other sensory friendly
listen,
barbershops
I,
in this
I,
country
I
or
don't,
continent.
well, from what I understand,
Yeah.
and this is without me digging, but like I said, 18 states already,
Yeah.
right? If there was one, they're not doing
Right.
what we're doing, right? So, that's
Wow.
my plan is to get one in every state so people can stop, stay in their own state, pay your taxes in your own state, right?
That's
You're
great.
corrupting New Jersey more. You're giving us more money, more room for corruption. Let me come out there to Delaware where it's tax free. No, but I
Oh,
mean, listen, everybody, unfortunately, like I said earlier, right? Everybody needs a haircut.
yeah.
Everybody needs a haircut. Every state, every country, right? That's why I picked cosmetology, right? It was job security for my family. Recession proof at the time, cash business, and third and most important, I can go anywhere in the world and work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean I have to go work and, you know, be unhappy, right? I mean, I can still go to work and cut hair, like I said, in Jamaica, Dominican Republic. I was just telling Gio, we came back from a house call not too long ago at a boarding home down at Exit 2 in Pennsville, right? So it was a 2 hour drive, one direction. We cut a couple of kids, 15 minutes each, and 2 hours back home, right? We were coming back, we were hot in the New Jersey Turnpike, and I said, Gio, I said, imagine one day, instead of us riding in a 2 lane Turnpike, behind this tractor trailer at exit 5 on the New Jersey Turnpike, that we are in a convertible on the Pacific Coast Highway, like going to the next bungalow to cut on the beach, right? What's the difference, right? We're still cutting hair. Just I'm in a bathing suit, and today I'm in your kind of country, right? You have the ability to cut hair. Hair grows everywhere, and you
Yeah.
know we're gonna try to. I would love to set one up in every facility, every hospital, every school, right? Have some
Wow.
sort of division somewhere, or at least get some education so that it starts to get easier as we move on.
Oh, that's great. That is great. And, something I love to ask every guest is because everyone listening obviously has some sort of desire in their heart to make a difference. What would you say to someone who's feeling like, okay, wait, I want to do something, but I just don't know how to start. I'm overwhelmed. Like you have an entire barbershop. That sounds overwhelming to create.
I mean, listen, considering that, barely managing my own bills before I open this place, right? I mean, um, uh, listen, I think I was inspired a little bit to do something, and the timing, unfortunately, for the rest of the country wasn't so good with COVID. But I remember during COVID, I wanted, I'll plug him because I like him. I think I want to say it was Steve Harvey, right? He's a motivated speaker, right? He's a very positive dude. I like some of his stuff. He said a lot of people have the ability. They're just afraid to jump off the cliff because they're afraid of the rejection at the end if it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
But when I opened this place, it was back to the lucky aspect, right? This was a previous barbershop that was working before COVID. And it was owned by a couple of elderly people, and they got nervous during COVID and didn't want to open anymore. If they would have toughed it out, none of this happened, right? Because somebody called me in the middle of COVID and said, "Hey, I know you were thinking about it. Take your shot." And my friend who told me goes, "Listen, if the worst comes to worst, no one's going to blame you. It was COVID."
Yeah.
And then coupled with what Steve Harvey said, I'm like, you know what? That's right. And now I have a perfect excuse. If it doesn't work, who's going to blame me?
And was it sensory friendly from the get-go there?
The minute I put the logo on the window, I'm not even exaggerating to you. The very next day, we were cutting somebody with their feet up on like a construction bucket or something. Like we were doing construction. I was still putting the stations up, like moving stuff around, and people were coming in. The first lady who kind of solidified that we were going to be okay was actually like the first day we put the logo up. She knocked on the window. She said, "Is this what I think it is?" I'm like, "Well, what do you think it is?" She goes, "Is that for autism?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yes." And then we haven't stopped since. We
Amazing.
haven't stopped since. So, I mean,
Amazing.
it's nice to be recognized so heavily for something that's so important to so many people. But more importantly for me, it's effortless. So like it's effortless. Like it's almost like a joke to me. Like I can't believe all this stuff is happening just because of I still have a hard time fathoming that, to be honest with you. Like
Well, this is
it's
just fantastic. I love hearing your joy. It's so palpable. And I hope that everybody listening, check out your kind of cuts online. You have a great Instagram feed filled with videos and resources, and you were
yeah,
just on
but you know what?
television. It's amazing.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot of filters and a lot of things that could be added and persuaded to make it look like what other people want it to look like, right?
Hey, it looks good.
And this is why I stand so firmly behind, parents driving from Canada and parents driving from 18 other states in the country, right? Like these people, completely abolish their entire weekend
Mm.
and gamble coming down the highway for 9 hours next to tractor trailers, right? To come hope that I can help their child, right? And I don't know if there's any greater compliment.
Well, Billy, I mean, there are so many kids who are indebted to you for sure and families. So thanks for what you're doing for just quote unquote showing up and being Billy.
Thank
It's
you.
going a long way.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you for what you do, right? I mean, because I don't do it for the glory and stuff, right? But what you do is kind of shining a light on the people who are playing above the line, right? Whatever that means, right? There's a lot of people that are playing below the line, right? So, um, I personally feel that I don't deserve the accolades and all that stuff, right? Because I believe this is what we're supposed to do, right? Just show up, be the best person you could be. Unfortunately, that's not the way everything is nowadays. But for you to
Mm.
highlight not just me and everybody else that support your show, and you know all the other people that you're supporting, right? I'm happy to be in that light, whether I was putting floors down or I was a painter or I was a barber, right? If you recognize me as doing something well, then that's what it is. It just happens to be very personal with what I do. But you know, I don't do it for the glitz and the glamour, and I understand it and I appreciate it, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's people like you who inspire people like me to keep going, right? Because you
Oh,
separate the line, right? You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it, right? But
well, thanks, because you're
right,
inspiring tons of other
but
people, and
that's what it is, right?
yeah,
Like you asked me, like, how do you inspire? I don't. If you want to do it, you're going to figure it out, right? If you don't want to do it, then you're going to make all kinds of excuses why you
yeah,
can't do it, right? Like if you want to do it, do it. And you know, listen, anybody listening that's thinking about you know, maybe this as a career moving forward, like please call us and you know, if you're local, you know, talk about coming in and interning with us, right? And
yeah,
maybe, you know, we can open up a shop in their town or their city, right? Where you know, we're working on that now, trying to get some more barbers behind the chair because that's going to be our biggest problem in the future.
okay,
Unfortunately, this problem is not going away. It seems to
yeah,
be getting worse and worse every year that goes by. So
yeah,
unfortunately, I'm not getting any younger, so we have to do something quickly, right? So anybody looking to maybe inspire, if I can help them, or we can come out to your city and help some barbers out there get up to speed, right? I mean, you know, give us enough notice and we'll make arrangements because at the end of the day, I mean, what good is having all the information if we're not going to distribute it as best as we
mm,
can, right? I mean, there's only so many people we can do here in Nutley or, you know, but
yeah,
country's big, the world is big, right? So, like I said, if we can help, you know, families moving forward in the future, not let this be such a problem, then I can leave in peace, right? Knowing that, you know, it's not going backwards, right? Like
yeah,
what we started here at Your Kind of Cuts is never going to go away, right? I mean,
yeah,
there could be somebody coming up the pipeline that blows us out of the water, but at the end of the day, it started, you know, we were part of the start. Not to say there's any
yeah,
other people around doing it, you know, but you know, like you talked about, like some people have to, you know, what's the initiative to get it started, right? I mean, there's plenty of people who have the talent to do what I'm doing,
yeah,
right? Take the shot,
but
right?
get
Take the
going,
shot.
going. And I mean, you say plenty of people, but you are like the combination of working with the children and the skill set of being a barber is pretty fantastic. And here's to you getting to 50 states
Oh,
with the shop.
listen, I
Gotta get
can't
out
wait.
there.
I can't wait. That whoever the 50th state is, just know that it's gonna be like Publishers Clearinghouse, dude. Like the balloons and I don't know if Ed McMahon's around anymore, but we'll find somebody, dude. Maybe take the
Yes.
Letterman or something, right? We'll bring somebody in. But I listen because what that tells me is I don't know how many other barbershops in the country could say they had clients from 50 states,
Yeah.
right? And that's even New York City, right? So, yeah, so to have that recognized for the reasons we're doing it just solidifies why we're doing it.
Right.
Right? If people have to come from 50 states away, then that just shows how important it really is.
Yeah.
So I can't wait though. We're gonna make whoever that 50th state is. I don't know who it's gonna be, but I'm sure it's gonna be a tough one though, right? It's
Well,
gonna
I
be
can't
tough.
wait to hear all about it. Billy, you keep doing the great work. You,
Thank
Ro,
you.
Gio, thanks so much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate having
Thank
you
you
here
for your
today.
time and thank you for letting me be myself. I appreciate it.
Oh, please don't change. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this helpful, a 5-star review, like, or comment means the world to me. And if you found insight in this episode, chances are someone else will too. Share with a friend to give them a boost today. Until next time, I'm Kate Chiaratelli-Tente, and this was Be the Good with Kate, Season 8.